is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
Keeping the public safe. The mayor and the police chief say they have new plans to respond to the recent violence and other crime, while others, both inside and outside the government, have their own ideas. More on that developing story coming up today, right here on the News at Noon. But first, you want to welcome you in here this afternoon. I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Clausen is standing by from home this midday. Todd, what can we expect for our Thursday and the rest of our afternoon?
You know, it's been a big change from the past few mornings across the area, Lauren, as we saw the sunshine. Those temperatures made that big jump really quickly. We're still dealing with the cloud cover in place this morning, and because of that, the temperatures have really not moved much at all from where they were this morning, and that is keeping these temperatures in the 70s in all locations, 72 in Indianapolis, 73 in Bloomington, so it's really kind of been a nice refreshing change for us. Well, things are going to start to change here this afternoon as these clouds thin out. You have to remember it's mid-July. Our temperatures are going to rebound very quickly. So as soon as we start to get into some sunshine here this afternoon, we'll warm through the 70s, and I do still think most of us get into the 80s later on today. And you can see that clearing line already now in eastern portions of Illinois. And so that should make steady progress from west to east across Indiana. So we're probably still in the 70s through 2 p.m. And as soon as we get into that sunshine mid to late afternoon, the temperatures jump up to about 82 degrees. And it should be really a nice evening across the area temperature-wise. Humidity's up there a little bit here throughout the day today. So while the temperatures are okay, it's still a little uncomfortable as far as the real feel goes. But wait till tomorrow and the weekend. That's when it gets very uncomfortable. More on that coming up in just a few minutes. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Well, with gun violence lingering as a problem in our city and more complaints about the state of downtown Indianapolis, the mayor says that he's been listening, and today he's responding. Mayor Joe Hogsett is out with plans that he says will help clean up the downtown area and also help the police department build better relationships with the community. The mayor says the city is restarting its Pathway to Employment program. That's the program that gave jobs cleaning up parts of downtown to homeless people. It had been suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Hogsett also said the Department of Public Works now has teams dedicated to litter and trash pickup, street sweeping, and power washing here in the downtown area. As for building relationships with the community, the mayor says that he will boost the efforts to place more police officers in neighborhoods. Only on RTV6, the mayor spoke with our Rafael Sanchez about this part of his plan. Community policing was cut more than a decade ago due to the recession and lack of officers. The mayor says the city is expanding from 78 to 106 community policing areas.
When we had a zone policing model, an officer on a shift was charged with patrolling, in some cases, as much as 12 to 15 square miles. In a beat-oriented system, that officer is now going to be responsible for about a square mile to a mile and a half square, which means that not only will they have more time to perform their duties, they'll have more time to interact with the public, which I think has the added benefit of increasing the community's trust because they will get to know their officers better. The officers will get to know the neighborhoods better. And I hope that that will improve the overall level of trust between law enforcement and the community.
Mr. Mayor, the FOP, the Indy FOP, endorsed you for your second term. But in recent weeks, they've been very critical of the way you've handled the downtown protests. What do you say to them? Their hashtag is now, "Where's our elected leaders?" Your response to the Indy FOP?
I don't take it personally, number one. Number two, I am thoughtful about their criticism, and I try to incorporate that in my decision making. As I said earlier, we don't always agree on everything. There's some disagreement that is inevitable, but at the end of the day, they're representing their members as best they can. I realize that's what they're doing. And so the criticisms themselves, whether it be police action shootings, whether it be the unfortunate several nights of violence that the downtown experienced, or frankly just a general overall criticism about the gun violence in certain areas of our city, those are valuable perspectives for them to offer me as we collectively make decisions about how we are going to address them.
Soon, the words Black Lives Matter will be emblazoned here in Indianapolis, a historic place, the home of the Madam C.J. Walker Theater. What will that mean?
Unless and until we acknowledge that Black Lives Matter, then our call that all lives matter rings hollow.
And you can see more of Raphael's conversation with the mayor. It's an RTV6 digital extra. You can watch that entire interview right now at theindychannel.com. The mayor is also expected to talk more about his plans with the other reporters this afternoon. You can watch that at 3:30 today. That will also be at theindychannel.com. And as the mayor focuses on public safety, dozens of young people continue to call for justice in the cases of 2 men shot and killed by police. Last night, demonstrators marched downtown calling for more information on the shooting deaths of Drejon Reed and Mikhail Rose. Those happened back in May, and protesters with Indy 10 Black Lives Matter continued to say that investigators are not being transparent.
Fire the officers who killed Drejon and Mikhail, release the autopsy report to the families, and release a 911 report. But I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon, so until it stops, we'll be out here.
Well, you can follow the latest on both of those investigations by visiting theindychannel.com. Taking a turn now this week, Governor Holcomb announced Indiana would stay at stage 4.5 and not move to the final stage of his Back on Track plan. And it's because COVID-19 cases in our state continue to creep higher. Here are the latest numbers from the state health department. Cases are higher again with 735 reported, 10 new deaths also reported, which pushes Indiana past 2,600 total. Also troubling, the state's intensive care bed capacity fell to 31.7%. That's almost 4 percentage points lower than where it was at yesterday. Unemployment claims here in Indiana are up again. Today, the Department of Labor announced that more than 29,000 Hoosiers filed for unemployment benefits for the first time last week. That's up almost 7,000 from the previous week, and a sign that job losses caused by the pandemic are still happening. Still, layoffs began 17 weeks ago. More than 890,000 people in Indiana have applied for unemployment. For perspective, that's more than 4 times the number that applied for benefits for all of 2019. COVID-19 cases are rising in most states now, and next, the struggle doctors and nurses nationwide are facing as dozens of hospitals start to reach their capacity. Todd.
And Lauren, the clouds have been in place here throughout the morning hours, but things are going to start to change as we get into the afternoon. Not only do we see the sunshine, but the temperatures are going to respond to that sunshine and start to warm up, as it should turn into a decent Thursday afternoon and evening. We'll talk about the rest of today and beyond into your weekend coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast when the news at noon continues right here on RTV6.
Welcome back. The number of new coronavirus cases continues to climb in at least 41 states. Some hospitals are filling up, and healthcare workers are reaching a breaking point as they struggle to contain the deadly virus. ABC's Rena Roy has more.
As half the nation sees an increase in COVID-19 deaths, with 25 states reporting a steady climb, morgues in hard-hit Texas are filling up. Refrigerated trucks placed back-to-back in San Antonio.
It's a hard thing to talk about when people's loved ones are dying, but in the hospital, there are only so many places to put bodies. We're out of space.
The state hit another record of nearly 11,000 new cases in one day. In Houston, nearly 100 members of the U.S. Army Medical Task Force arriving to help with the surge. Overnight, California's L.A. County seeing its highest ever number of new COVID hospitalizations.
They come in faster than we're able to discharge. These patients turn very quickly.
Hospitalizations are nearing an all-time high across the country, with more than 56,000 COVID patients right now. An internal FEMA memo obtained by ABC News shows more young patients are contributing to those numbers. In June, 18 to 49-year-olds making up nearly 36% of hospitalizations and 30% of those in the ICU. So many healthcare workers at their breaking point, struggling to find PPE.
In a country that's this rich with resources, it seems criminal having to make do with cobbled together non-certified equipment.
This as health experts urge everyone to wear masks in public. In Alabama, a new order requires them. Violators could face a fine of $500, even jail time. Tulsa, Oklahoma, also mandating them after the governor tested positive, seen nearly 4 weeks ago at the president's rally without a mask.
I got tested yesterday. The results came back positive. So I feel fine.
And in a stunning rebuke of mask-wearing guidance, Georgia's governor issued an executive order banning all city and county mask requirements, saying they are impossible to enforce. This despite the head of the CDC saying the country could get the pandemic under control in just 4 to 8 weeks if Americans all wore masks. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Hospitals and doctors' offices have many restrictions during this pandemic, as we all know. For one mother, it's causing a lot of heartbreak. Next, we'll share her story of going through a child's diagnosis without her husband by her side. And let's take a look outside right now. This is kind of a hazy view here over the Circle City. We're going to check in with Todd Clausen and get his full forecast for the rest of the afternoon and look ahead to your weekend. That's coming up right here on RTV6. Stay with us. Well, mother says she's frustrated because her husband isn't able to come to their newborn's doctor appointments due to the pandemic. Our Kelsey Anderson spoke with her about how difficult it is for that mom, even as others are able to go to dinner and have large parties.
Because of COVID-19, many expecting mothers are having to go to doctor's appointments alone and only have one person there for delivery. And mothers like Chelsea Davis Granberry are asking hospitals to ease those restrictions. Navy June Granberry was born nearly a month ago. She was diagnosed at birth with Down syndrome. Because of her diagnosis, Navy has had several doctor's appointments and only one parent is able to go. Her mom, Chelsea Davis Granberry, is asking hospitals to ease the restrictions so at least one more person can come to all the appointments for expecting mothers and newborns.
Pregnancy is already hard. Pregnancy in a pandemic is even harder. And to go through that alone at your appointments, for fathers not to be able to hear their first baby's heartbeat on the ultrasounds, or people that receive news that need their support person there, I think it's creating more of a problem than it is helping.
Granberry tells me she's glad she opted out of getting the 10-week blood draw that tests for Down syndrome because she likely would have found out her daughter's diagnosis alone. I did reach out to St. Vincent Hospital. That's where Navy is having her appointments, and they tell me that they are following CDC recommendations and guidelines, but they do offer iPads so a second parent or guardian can participate in the appointments virtually. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. As more businesses start to require you to wear a mask in public, the CEO of Salesforce says he thinks that people should face fines if they don't wear them. Mark Benioff says that it's similar to what the country faced when wearing your seatbelt in your car first became the law. Sometimes, he says, a hit to your wallet is the only way to get the message.
People said, but you know what, if I get injured, it's my body, it's my life. Well, at some point, the government has to step in and say, yes, you have to wear a mask. And if you're not wearing a mask, you're going to get fined. Just like if you don't wear a seatbelt, you get a fine. There's no difference.
Salesforce is the cloud computing company that employs around 1,700 people here in Indiana. Benioff is one of the sponsors of a mask-making competition for young inventors. He says the goal is to design a mask that will entice more people to put them on to stop spread the coronavirus. Let's take a turn right now to our forecast. Todd Clausen is standing by from home. And Todd, we had our nice days earlier this week. What can we expect for our Thursday? And let's look ahead to the weekend.
Yeah, today's going to get better, and then we're going to build in a lot of heat for the weekend. So I look at this morning and now into the early afternoon hours as a little bit of a reprieve from the heat and all that sunshine. Lauren, it's been kind of a nice, refreshing change, and we're still locked in with the cloud cover. This is a live look in Greencastle across the campus at DePaul University. But Greencastle, you're going to be one of the first areas to get back into the sunshine later on this afternoon, as we'll see clearing eventually happen from west east. Now, while the clouds look pretty threatening out there there here and down this afternoon. Without the exception of maybe a stray sprinkle or two, we're not going to run into much in the way of any showers going through the day today, but rain chances will be spotty Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and that's because we're getting into the heat and the humidity once again. The humidity's already out there currently across the area, but starting tomorrow, the 90-degree temperatures are set to return to the forecast as well. A few lingering showers there up just north of Jay County, and that is just about it. You look back off to the west and you see the clearing line from Kankakee back down towards Champaign, and that's going to eventually make its way off towards the east, working its way from west to east. So the further east you are, the more patient you have to be to get into the sunshine. But I think eventually we all get there, and once we do get into the sunshine, temperatures are going to respond very quickly through the 70s and eventually into the 80s. But right now we're at 73 in Martinsville as well as Bloomington and Greenfield, 72 in Tipton. It's 73 down in Bloomington and Bedford. And here is your hour-by-hour forecast. And you see by 4 o'clock, that's when most of us should be into the sunshine. Temperatures jump up to about 80 to, I would say, 83, 84 degrees across parts of the area. And then we'll stay there through the evening before we fall back down into the 70s. Now, tomorrow you wake up to a temperature right around 70. We're into the sunshine right away. High temperature gets up to 90 degrees. It's just the chance of a real stray shower in the forecast tomorrow. Better storm chances, albeit on a very spotty basis for the weekend, with high temperatures that'll be in the low to mid 90s. The humidity is going to be up there as well. So when you see 94 on Sunday, it's probably going to feel closer to 100 to 104 degrees across the area compared to 94. So it's an extremely hot and humid day, about a 20% chance of an isolated storm. On Thursday, it's a pop-up storm as well. The better rain chances in this forecast will be on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week as a front comes through, and that's when we'll start to cool off. So just get ready once we get past today for a 3 to 4 day stretch, Lauren, of hot and humid conditions with the daily chance of that pop-up storm, mainly in the afternoon hours.
Maybe you read these or have them read them to their kids. The legendary Magic School Bus book series that led to 2 hit TV shows. Children's author Joanna Cole started writing Magic School Bus books back in the mid-1980s. Through the dozens of books that she had, she and the lead character, the science teacher, Miss Frizzle, took millions of children on extraordinary adventures that also made science easy to understand. Today, her publisher, Scholastic, announced that Joanna Cole died this past Sunday following a long illness. She was 75 years old, and I love that show. Still ahead here, the host of Jeopardy has a message for all his fans and for a special member of the Jeopardy family. And we'll get one final check of Todd's forecast. You're watching RTV6. Alex Trebek has been busy even though the production of Jeopardy has been shut down during much of the COVID-19 pandemic. Trebek wrote a new autobiography. It comes out next week. And today, Trebek also gave an update on his battle with pancreatic cancer. He says he's continuing treatment and that his numbers are good, even though the treatment often leaves him feeling fatigued. Trebek says that he's looking forward to shooting a new season of Jeopardy. Right now, that is scheduled for September. He also took a little bit of time for a special greeting to an important member of the Jeopardy family.
I want to take a moment to wish my good friend Johnny Gilbert a very happy birthday. You know, Johnny, I think at this point in our lives we should just celebrate the number of years we've worked together. So happy 36th birthday, Johnny. I'm already looking forward to 37. Sounds better, doesn't it? Oh yeah, a lot better.
Hello, everyone. Jeopardy announcer Johnny Gilbert is actually 96 now. Can you believe that? Trebek has also been recording some special introductions for some classic episodes of Jeopardy that will be airing throughout the month. He says it will include his first ever show from back on September of 1984. Pretty cool. All right, let's get one more look at that forecast with Todd Clausen. Hey, TK.
Hey, Lauren, the clouds are in place, currently still across the area, but they should start to thin out this afternoon. The temperatures eventually will get up into the 80s, so the day continues to get better. Just got to be patient, I think, for at least another couple, 2 or 3 hours. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, 90, and it's going to be muggy as well. It's going to feel like 95, and then over the weekend, it's going to feel closer to 100 when you factor in the humidity.
All right, Todd, thank you, and thanks for joining us and making RTV6 your choice for news. We'll see you back here at 5.